Welcome back to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. I'm Steven, and tonight, whenever the heck you're watching this, we are getting into Knob Creek 9-year-old small batch. This particular bottle, the Knob Creek small batch, it is 9-year-old, 100 proof, and it's a bourbon. I wasn't able to locate much about the mash bill, but it's a beam mash bill, 100 proof, 9-year-old bourbon, and it's roughly around $30-ish. So it is a little bit on the budget side. 100 proof, 9-year-old age statement. Those are pretty impressive facts. Let's just get into it. Knob Creek, 9-year-old, on the nose. Nutty. Little bit of like a nutty cinnamon. Some caramel vanilla. Honestly, the best way I could describe this nose is like a payday bar. Not getting much else, maybe a little bit of like a velvety marshmallow, but basically just that payday bar. Little bit of like a cherry in there. The nose is very inviting. A little hint of like kind of like floral on the end there. I'm liking this nose so far, but let's go ahead and get into the palate. Getting a nice little bit of like caramels, vanillas, definitely a nice nuttiness, and a little bit of like an astringent oak almost. It is kind of drying, but overall it's still that payday bar. That payday bar is everywhere. Payday bar, baking spices, and more payday bar. It's very, very nutty. Definitely getting some cherry on the palate as well. Some creamy vanilla, slightly floral. That's weird. Before this review, I've never gotten any sort of floral notes on Jim Beam whatsoever, but it's slightly floral. Just that payday bar, that intense like nutty caramel nugget with a little bit of cherries, some oak, some like luscious like vanilla cream stuff going on because it's not as deep and dark as caramel all the time. Some brown sugars as well. Lots of oak on the end. The end becomes super heavy with that oak. Overall, pretty solid palate. Finish is a little bit shorter than I would have expected. It feels a little watery and thin. For 9-year-old 100 proof whiskey, I would have expected it to be a little bit more viscous, just because usually with that higher proof and everything, you're gonna expect to see a little bit more viscosity. Not really seeing that much viscosity there. I don't know if this is the Knob Creek for me. I used to be a really big fan of this, but right here on the review, it's kind of boring. It's payday bar. Like, so if you're a big fan of payday bars, this is the whiskey for you. For me, I mean, I do actually really like payday bars, but for me, in the world of whiskey, this is kind of, it's very single-sided. It's not breaking the walls down anywhere. There's nothing, there's no nuances, there's no intrigue. And yes, I know it's a $30 bottle, so you shouldn't really expect nuances or anything like that going on in there. But comparatively, there's a lot other offerings. There's a lot of offerings around the $30 mark that bring a lot more to the table than this one does. This isn't a bad whiskey, but it's just so much nuts. It's nuts on top of like caramel vanilla. It's not bringing that much to the table. It's slightly thin for a 9-year-old 100 proof bourbon. I think this is a solid C+ whiskey. It's definitely not bad whiskey. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say it's bad whiskey, but for $30, I think it's about $10 more than it should be. Just because, I mean, I can get Wild Turkey 101 and Old Forester 100 for $20, and this is less complex than that, and it's $10 more. So I don't know. And then Maker's 46, Elijah Craig, all those, they're bringing so much more to the table at that same price point. So overall, I just think this is overpriced. It's not bad whiskey by any means. I've definitely had worse for more. So I'm not trying to say it's bad whiskey. I just think it's overpriced severely in a category or a subsection where $5 to $10 is an extreme amount. So I'm giving it a C plus because it lacks complexity. It's not the right whiskey for me. If you love nuts, I say pick this up. But I mean, at that point, get Old Granddad 114. It's cheaper, from the same family, and it's bringing about the same complexity. To me, at least. This is just my opinion. That being said, I do still really love Knob Creek. Knob Creek 12 is some of my favorite whiskey. Knob Creek single barrels, they're some of the best single barrels out there on the market. So I'm not saying crap on Knob Creek by any means. Knob Creek is still a fantastic, fantastic offering. This bottle just isn't my bottle. This is not my jam. It is what it is. I hate giving a Knob Creek offering lower grade, but before this, I haven't really sat down and actually seriously considered Knob Creek 9-year and reviewed it like I am now. And when you sit down in this chair and you do a little bit review and put my little reviewing cap on, sometimes something that you thought was beloved to you, or sometimes you're like, oh yeah, that's good stuff, it doesn't quite weigh up. I mean, Payday bars. It's good, but it's not great. But that's going to be a wrap for this video. Please do us a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys thought about this video. Also, let us know what you guys think about this Knob Creek. Let us know if you thought I graded it a little harshly. I might be grading it. I know it's only a $30 bottle, but I don't think it brings $30 to the table. And I know that's nitpicky, but that's just me. Also, check out the Facebook, Instagram, and our Patreon. The link for that is down there below. Cheers, y'all. We'll see you later.